everybody, this is Mike Sandoval. This is MUSE TV, and we're back for another episode. And we're coming back and we're returning to Bastards Road, the documentary that's amazing. Definitely one of my best documentaries of this first half of 2021. And we're going to be talking to Daniel Strauch and Marx Gibbons from Alasana Collective about the music of the film. Hey guys, how you doing?
How are you?
Great. Thanks for having us.
Doing good, doing good. What was it about putting the music to this film? Because one, it's amazing. This documentary was so good, and the music follows along very well with it and really complements it very well. What was it coming up with the ideas, and how did the process work about putting something into this to give it that feel?
So, Mike, I think we had a really unique opportunity in the fact that our relationship with Brian Morrison, the director, the wearing of all of the hats of this film, we have a relationship that spans over a decade together. So that in itself made the creative process comfortable. On top of that, Mike is an 18-year veteran and provided consultation on this film from a veteran standpoint for Brian as he was developing it. So those two things gave us a kind of a sneak peek into Jon's life as Brian was going through his journey with him, and gave us a ton of information. And then towards the end of the production of the film, he came to us and said, "Hey man, like I have these temp tracks that I'm in love with that I need you to replace."
Yeah,
and when you tell that to creatives and you understand how this works, normally it's going to be a rough process because everything you give them isn't going to sound like what they're listening to, and then that cycle begins. That being said, we were because of all of those unique opportunities I just mentioned, the creative process was rather seamless, and it was a lot of fun, and we had a lot of knowledge and information, and so we were able to just create without overthinking anything. And Brian was able to use the music and the original music in the film. Mike and I did 3 songs. One of our really close friends, Jeremy Griffith, did the score. So it was basically like a kind of an in-house production of people who grew up in the industry together. And so, not to talk too much, but that's really why the music we feel came together so strongly. Do you want to add to that?
Yeah, and it's just from doing music for other things. It was really interesting having director in studio. I wasn't sure if we loved him or wanted to but we had such a great time with Brian, who was able to give us real-time feedback and just be like, guys, this is the direction I like. Guys, I think we need to take it a different direction. And just being able to have him in studio for some of these sessions was paramount, right, for how the music actually came out.
Right. And we also got to work with an artist. Mike and I did the production engineering and most of the instrumental recording, except for Luke James Schaefer, who was with us on this project. He's an incredible recording artist. His voice is plastered all over these tracks, right, including Moses. And we've had a working relationship for like 6 years. So that process and that part of the creativity was a really fun project to be a part of. It was very uplifting, and we didn't even know kind of the gifts that we were going to receive on the other end of this, when the film actually came out through the festival circuit and stuff.
Yeah. And how was it like? You do have the director every so often pop in and check the music, but from what it sounds like, he was really involved with the creation, like with you guys. How was it working in that type of situation? Because like you really get a feedback from the creative standpoint on the video aspect of things, but how was it to work and really bring that video and music together?
Well, that's a really good question. So with Brian is very particular in a good way. I don't want to sound like I'm taking away from him. He's very particular about the music that he likes to use for his films. His background is in music videos. And so Brian had created a number of sequences that were basically pre-established, had been laid out, and they had been set to some national temp tracks, as Dan had mentioned.
Speaking of like The National and Ray LaMontagne, these were bands that we were up against in terms of original music creation. So we had our work cut out for us.
Right. So we basically just set out to try to capture that kind of energy. And, Brian was not afraid to be like, hey guys, after, a couple hours, I'm just not feeling this one, and let's try something else. And that was all part of the creative process. It was very unique having that real-time feedback, but I think that it just made the end product that much better.
And honestly, because we've been in music production for over a decade, when you work with artists in thousands of sessions, even if it's not from a movie production standpoint, that feedback in real time is very consistent, right? You're creating a product, you get involved in it, and then halfway through the production, you're like, let's switch this up, let's change this, let's try this idea, and you basically reverse engineer it and start over again. Yeah. So we're really comfortable in that capacity, and I think that's something that you have to be comfortable with when working with creatives like Brian, because they're in real time. If you can't take that criticism or that constructive feedback and do something with it, it can kill the project.
Right.
So we're lucky enough to have that experience, and yeah, man, it was fun. I know I keep saying that, but like a lot of sessions are stressful, and you get different things out of them. This one was cathartic, exciting, enjoyable, all of the things you would want in a creative session. So
yeah, and that's what it sounds like to me from seeing the aspect as the finished product, is that it looked like everything seamlessly was working together and just the cogs just fit. And I think that's when you see the finished product and you're like, wow, this is how you could tell when you get to an okay film to a great film.
Right.
And that's why I say this documentary is so great, and I enjoyed it so much. I can't say it enough, because it was something that I really learned about, and the music, everything just worked. And I think that's, you really bring that to life. One question I want to ask is, you have been on Muse before in a band called Secret State.
Yeah.
And over the last year, for a lot of musicians, it was very difficult, and they were looking for transitions, things to do. One of my friends actually decided to go do the same thing you do and start scoring for films, because there was no concerts, there was no travel. What were some of the things you saw from people in your industry and people in your field? Did you see a lot of change, transition, looking, because since you couldn't play live shows or do anything like that, and you saw friends go into like more production, into television and movies?
I mean, that's such an incredible question. I think what this specific situation provided people was a chance to recreate themselves. And the traditional format for artists in general, whether you're an independent or a signed artist, is record, tour, record, tour, record, tour. Yes, there is content, sprinkled in between that. But Mike and I run a production company, and the reason I say that is our job is to tell stories for people. Mm-hmm. For artists, their job, even more so than the music, is to tell their story. That's what people connect with, because you know this so well. There are a million good songs out there that never get heard. Yeah. What makes that one song that sounds like the other 100 unique? And it's always the story within it or behind it from the artist. And I have seen artists reinvent themselves through their storytelling, offering different types of content than just your live streaming and just your new record every month. And that's the differentiator, the separator that's going to last well past the pandemic and well past us going back into real life is that. And so for any creative out there, especially in the music side of things, who wants to stay involved and understand how to kind of navigate through these waters, if they haven't already, tell your story. If you're not comfortable telling that on your own, but you want to do that for a living, find somebody who's comfortable telling it for you. I can't overemphasize that enough, because that model's never changed, right? It's always been about the story. It's just now us as individual creatives, as independent artists, we have an opportunity to do that on our own more so than we ever did before, because the tools exist. And I think, that's my 2 cents on that.
And I think the pandemic offered that pause to allow people to really evaluate what that story is. So they're not just slammed playing, bars or shops or touring every night. They are now sitting at home, maybe doing their online gig, for tips or whatever. But I think the pandemic, with all the artists that we work with, it has really given them a pause to evaluate themselves, and us too.
Yeah. Oh, for sure. It was a very necessary evil, at least in our lives. But every artist we work with, like the ones, it's really fun to see as things open back up, the ones who have catapulted themselves, because that's how they did it.
Right.
They basically said, you're going to throw this curveball at me. Well, this is how I'm going to hit it.
Yeah.
So that's where we sit, I believe.
Very cool. Very cool. And one thing I want to ask is, Aliceanna Collective, how'd you guys start it? What was the reason behind the name and everything? And tell us a little bit about the company and what you've been doing.
Sure.
Well, the great thing about Bastards Road is it's a story that kind of brings people together. And so, you know, Brian, the director, Dan, and myself had kind of, after the Secret State days that you had mentioned, had kind of drifted apart over, you know, 5-6 years. And this film started filming in 2016. And what the film gave us a chance to do is kind of glue back together and kind of come back together, which is really in the spirit of what the film is all about. And so after Dan and I, you know, participated in the creation of the music for it, we flew out to Santa Barbara International Film Festival in Park City and saw some of the impact that the film had on people. We said, we can do this. You know, media can move people in special ways, and you know, and based on our connection and how we connect with media in general, I think we have you know, something to say here, and that's just a feeling that we both really embrace and are passionate about. And so we decided to create a company, and we did that late last year. We called it the Alasana Collective because the band that kind of started everything for us, we had named Aliceanna after a street in Baltimore. So that band had become the Secret State, and then you know, when we decided to make this company, we just decided to
go back to our roots.
Go back to our roots.
That was really where all the you know, you were whether you liked it or not, privy to some really unique times with the Secret State and the video shoots, and you know, it's amazing. You know, and this actually kind of goes full circle to your question, Michael, but the control we didn't have then versus the control that we have now over our own careers and our own creativity is why we chose the Alasana Collective and why we got involved in media production. We wanted to tell stories. We had been doing it our whole lives in different capacities through song creation, etc., getting involved in video, but we didn't want the red tape associated with how we made those decisions.
Right.
And, you know, the beauty of where we live and our opportunities, we got to create our own company because of it. And we opened it and funded it during the pandemic. And we're proud of that. And the reality of why we're doing what we're doing is because we have such a network of people that we love. And that drives our business. This is a really cheesy thing to say, but our currency is our relationships. Yes, we're a business and we need to make money, but our currency is based. That's where we get our satisfaction, because really the financial aspect is secondary. If you're working with people you love, doing things you care about, you're going to make an impact, and it's going to drive your business forward. And we wanted to set ourselves up like that because of the pitfalls of working for previous opportunities that prevented us from feeling that satisfaction. So,
but we have the film to really thank.
Right. At the end of the day, Bastards Road was the ultimate catalyst to us being like, we're doing this again.
Yeah,
awesome. That's an awesome story, because I remember from the. It's already going to be 10 years since
where's time going?
And I'm just like, a lot has changed even on our end over those 10 years, and it's great to see you guys start this moving forward. I can guarantee bigger things are coming in this movie industry, and you're going to have some even bigger stuff. If awards are going to be coming, that's all I could say, because the music's so good, and I've seen you guys over the last 10 years. You've always been hard workers, always did what you had to do in order to make something big out of whatever you were trying to do. So I see this going to be your next big thing. And do you have any films that you're working on now that we could be looking forward to in the future?
So that's a great question. We just got we have a few consultations going for scores for upcoming films. I don't know how much I can say about these yet, just based on the relationships and the fact that you know how all that works.
They're all very similar documentary.
Yeah, we have 2 new documentaries and docuseries that we're getting involved in that we're scoring for, with very intense subject matter,
right?
And because we have the capabilities of basically putting a full orchestra together in our studio, we love creating stuff like that. Mike drives the string arrangements, and he's amazing with that stuff. He did it with the Secret State.
To let people down with them.
But as a full-fledged media company, most of our work at this point is focused in driving media to help businesses get their message out. And in a world where visual media is paramount now, and you need it to keep up, We try to help people tell their stories who are either doing it and want to do it differently, or have never done it before and want to explore what that looks like. And it's been super gratifying for us. So that's our path right now. And we, Mike and I made a decision when we got into business for this. We knew it wasn't always going to be music all the time, because it's a lot more film and creativity on that side of things. But that's why we do the scores, and that's why we work with the Bastards Roads and things of that nature, because that's our roots. And we love music. And so yes, those projects are in the works, but isn't necessarily driving what we're doing right now. So
very cool. Hey, thank you so much for stopping with us, revisiting us.
Thanks for having us.
Looking forward to seeing more from you guys and hearing more in the future. Cannot wait for everybody to hear and see Bastards Road, because when they hear your score to this, it's going to be, and everything, all the work you guys did to it, it's just going to add on to what happened with this film and how great this film is. So thank you so much.
Yeah, we appreciate your time. And great to see you again.
Yeah, Mike, thanks for the kind words and the support and all this too. And we're blessed to be a part of it. But congratulations. We haven't talked in a decade, and you're still doing your thing. So
I don't know how.
That's an amazing. Hey, listen, I
don't know how,
but that's a testament to the passion, man. That's what it's all about, right? So we appreciate you and what you do and how you give our content a platform for other people to see, because that's everything, man.
Yeah, that's
so thanks for what you do.
I hope it's not another 10 years.
Yeah,
exactly. We could do this in 20 years. Well, let's do this in 2 years when you guys get an Oscar. And I
hope we have our hair on this end.
Exactly. Great. We'll see you soon. Thank you for watching MUSE TV. Don't forget to hit your thumbs up, subscribe, and we'll see you next time.